Fox polling now that shows Mitt Romney leading the pack of Republican candidates. So if he can keep it going, eventually becoming the nominee, what will he do with it? Here to talk about the issues of the day, former Massachusetts governor and Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney. How are you? And good morning.
Terrific. Thanks,
Bill.
Bill.
You look relaxed.
I feel relaxed. I'm here with you. All
right. Well, I'm glad I can make you at home. But listen, from this reporter's perspective, there's a lot in back and forth between the personalities with you and Senator Santorum and Newt Gingrich. And the perspective here is that the issues are getting lost. So I want to take time today to find out what America would be like under a President Romney.
Well,
okay? So gas prices, they're ridiculous, as you know. Up more than 30 cents in the past month, and every day Americans are paying a price for this. Do you hold President Obama responsible?
Absolutely. He has not pursued policies that convince the world that America is going to become energy secure, energy independent. He held off drilling in the Gulf. He's held off drilling out of Anwar. He said no to the Keystone Pipeline from Canada. His regulatory agency, the EPA, has held off drilling in North Dakota, Texas, Oklahoma. Even our natural gas resources, which could convince people that we were going to use them for purposes of getting off of our dependence on oil, that he hasn't pursued aggressively either. So the world believes that America is not going to have the energy we need, and we're going to have to continue sending hundreds of billions of dollars out of our economy going into other nations. We need a president that will open up these things.
On the policy front, you might be right about that, but our Fox polling shows a different story. It shows a majority, 52%, don't believe his policies are responsible. What gives?
Well, his policies are responsible for not having America using the energy that we have in this country, instead sending money out to other countries to buy energy from them. We could be developing resources here, creating jobs here, and convincing the world that long-term America's energy supply is going to grow and have a dampening effect on prices. People who set the prices of oil look not just at the daily spot rate, they look long-term to see what's going to be happening, and they buy and sell these shares and futures of oil based upon what they think is going to happen. What they're seeing with this president is a series of policies that say oil, natural gas, coal are not going to be used as effectively in this country as they could be.
Well, he would argue, blame Iran, blame the Middle East, blame the speculators on Wall Street. Newt Gingrich, your opponent, says, I'll get it to $2.50 a gallon. Can you guarantee that?
Well, no one can guarantee what the price of oil is going to be, but what we can do is take advantage of what we know we have, which is abundant energy resources in this country. The president has lots of places to point his finger. And of course, we alone don't set world energy prices, but we can affect whether we send billions of dollars out of our country to people who don't like us very much. And we can determine whether energy resources we take advantage of here create jobs here. And we can determine whether we have an effect on the direction of those energy prices by having an abundant supply here. The president's done all of that wrong. It's got to change.
That is issue number one for today. The other issue is Afghanistan. You know the headlines are coming fast and quickly today. This is not easy. Do you stay in or do you get out?
Well, you make a decision on that question by talking with the people closest to the events in Afghanistan. You meet with the commanders. We're going to hear shortly from General Allen, who oversees our effort there. We're going to determine to what extent are the Afghan security forces ready to take over for their security, for the nation's sovereignty.
But what is your position today? Because yesterday President Obama was asked about this, and he said the drawdown schedule continues for the next 2 years. Is he right with that?
Well, based upon the information we have right now, the answer is you don't make a change based upon some rogue soldier killing people. That you don't determine foreign policy based on a terrible event that occurs by a crazy person.
Agreed, but with all due respect, his schedule was set up long before this terrible tragedy.
But my point is, you don't change the schedule based upon this crazy person, but you assess from time to time what the drawdown table will be, how ready the Afghan troops are, and we'll get that report. I don't get the top secret briefing reports the president gets.
I understand, but I'm asking you, based on what you know, is his strategy right or not?
But what I'm saying is that we haven't received an update from the president or from the generals in quite some time. I have supported the policy that we've described in the past, which is a drawdown by the end of 2014. I think his drawdown of the surge troops in September as opposed to December of this year is a mistake. I think it's based on a political calendar as opposed to what the conditions on the ground demand. But as to a new direction for Afghanistan, that would depend upon new information coming from the commanders. We're going to hear about that in the next several days.
Understood. Will you make a trip to Afghanistan if you're the nominee?
I would presume so. I've made trips to Afghanistan before. I want to keep very much informed on that.
Have you considered that?
Of course.
You were there in January of 2011?
I can't give you the exact date because my memory is not good. But
I've been
that
there, was about the
been
time
there a year ago. Yeah.
On Iran, the president says sanctions are working. Are they?
Well, he waited a heck of a long time to put in place sanctions. Even Congress had to write a piece of legislation insisting that he have that had central bank sanctions put in place. He should have put in place crippling sanctions from the very beginning. The right course for Iran is crippling sanctions, standing with the dissident voices and moving towards more representative forms of government in Iran. Number 3, indicting Ahmadinejad under the Genocide Convention for incitation to genocide. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, communicating to Iran that we have military options that we're prepared to take if they don't become dissuaded from becoming nuclear.
Yesterday, he said that this window is closing, which seems to be language that he has used that goes a little further than what we have heard to this point.
Yeah.
If the window's closing, and when that window shuts, what does President Romney do?
Well, we hope it doesn't shut. We hope the window doesn't get closed. But we've watched for 3.5 years a president that failed to put in place crippling sanctions, failed to speak up for the dissident voices in the streets in Tehran, failed to communicate that we were preparing military options. As a matter of fact, what we've heard from this administration has sounded like they're much more concerned about Israel taking action than they are about Iran becoming nuclear. He's finally beginning to speak in a more muscular way. Finally. I think that probably has to do with the election year circumstances.
Okay, I want to